God damn, is it an exciting time for One Piece fans right now. The One Piece live action series is coming out soon, the manga is popping off right now, and at the time of me writing this, the Gear 5th episode is about to be animated. All is good. The One Piece hype has been so high recently that even one of my friends has decided to start the series. Although he was torn on whether or not to watch the sub or dub. Now when I started watching One Piece back in the day, when I still had my childhood innocence, I watched it in dubbed. And what I'm about to say might be my most controversial take to date, but I much preferred the dub over the sub, and still do. Now I feel like I'm insane for thinking this, cause everywhere I look online, everyone always seems to shit on the dub and never even give it a second thought. At times it seems like people don't even know it exists. Look up any reaction to a One Piece episode and the reactor is never watching the dubbed version. I'm just sad to think that a lot of people haven't even given it a chance, cause there are some really good voices to be found in the dub, some of which I believe to be flat out better in my opinion, so I'm gonna go over some of those. Also, just throwing this out there, but if you prefer the sub, that's cool. This is just my opinion. So I first want to talk about possibly the most controversial character in the cast, Luffy.
You can send 100,000 or 10 million guys after us, but every single one of them is going down, you hear me?
A lot of people just cannot jive with the rough sounding voice Colin Clinkybeard gives him, and I know that the barrel scene probably scared off a lot of newcomers right off the bat. But all I was thinking of when I watched the show for the first time was that he's literally just Gohan. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, then you'll notice that a lot of Straw Hat's voices seem eerily similar to a lot of Dragon Ball characters. Which, you know, even in the sub, Luffy's voice actress is also the voice actress for Krillin, so it all comes together. But back to Luffy. What I like about this interpretation of him is that I believe it fits the kind of guy he is and wants to be. Luffy is a free-spirited pirate who's rough around the edges and always does things his way. I feel like the dub version captures that side of Luffy really well, and even matches the sub in some regard.
Do? Let's say there's a chunk of meat, right? Pirates will have a banquet and dig right in, but a hero would give it to other people instead of eating it. Screw that, my meat is mine!
I especially like English Luffy during fight scenes where he has to go all out and you can just hear her voice actress just absolutely shred her vocal cords. I just feel like the voice makes the occasion feel much more intense. It gives certain scenes much more dramatic weight than the sub for me.
I'm never gonna give up. You hear me? Until I defeat you, I won't drop to the ground ever again!
And for those who just don't like the raspiness of the voice, I will say that later on in the series it is toned down a bit, although personally I'm still fine with it either way. And then we got Zoro, played by Christopher Sabat, who just kills it, which is not surprising at all as this man tends to kill every role he's in.
That sword to slice up this ship?
Indeed.
No doubt then, you're the strongest. I went out to sea so I could meet you.
What's your goal?
To surpass you.
Zoro just sounds so cool whenever he speaks, making him sound like the nonchalant badass he is. Like, I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you on Zoro's voice. It's just that good.
I'm sure I'm gonna catch hell from your boss, but I'm kicking your ass either way.
And then there's Nami.
Being hunted by a warlord in the Grand Line, that's more than I can handle!
So when do we get to see this guy?
I wonder what he looks like. Shut up, you! It's been nice knowing you idiots. Thanks for everything!
Now, one reason I prefer Nami in the dub is because she actually sounds like a woman her age. To me, Nami's sub voice always sounded like an old woman and didn't fit her age at all, but I feel like the dub captures her young nature and cat burger ways really well, and it's just a good fit overall. Not to mention that she can absolutely kill it in the emotional scenes, like the hat scene.
Luffy.
And as for Usopp, he's just Krillin.
Remove yourself from the ship, you fiend! Submit to the holy power that I wield! Evil be gone! Evil be gone!
Oh, fright.
Like, out of all the voice actors who also play characters on Dragon Ball, this one sounds the most similar to the other character. Although if you can get past that aspect, I still think the voice fits his character pretty well. And later on in the series, some more emotional stuff happens to him. I do think he can pull off those scenes pretty well. But I mean, come on. At the end of the day, it's still Usopp. You can't hate him.
My name is Captain Usopp. Power has nothing to do with it. I just naturally have a negative personality!
Now Sanji's dub is a little bit different from his sub, and the fact that the sub sounded a little bit more refined, whereas the dub went for more of a rough around the edges type of vibe, but I think it still fits pretty well.
You could have eaten it if you had just taken the bug out. It would have been wonderful. It took 3 full days of hard cooking to prepare that soup for you, and you wasted it. I'm asking, can it satisfy your hunger?
I also think that whenever he has an argument with Zoro, for some reason it sounds funnier in English.
I saw that, cheater! You went too early on that last one!
Shut up! You're just mad because you lost, like you always do.
What? I always lose, huh? We'll just see about that!
And Chopper sounds like the Pikachu wannabe he was always meant to be.
I'm not a human, I'm a reindeer! I have antlers and hooves, don't you see? I even have a blue nose!
Like, you know, it's fine. Thought it was okay in the sub, and it's pretty okay in the dub. Not much of a difference here. Sorry, I'm just not the biggest fan of Chopper, okay? I don't know what to say about him. As for the other woman in the Straw Hat crew, the English voice fits her character extremely well and probably matches her sub counterpart more than any other character, barring maybe Brooke.
It was when I was 8 years old that I decided to pursue archaeology as my career. Shortly thereafter, I found myself wanted by the world government. Since then, I've spent the past 20 years hiding from the world.
I even see people that prefer the sub say that Ramen's English VA sounds good. Just like the sub, I think the dub perfectly conveys her reserved, cold, and quiet nature, but can still get intense when needed to. And then we got the I Wanna Live scene, like, come on!
I want to live! Take me with you! Take me away from here!
Also, real quick, I know that a lot of sub purists hate the dub version of that because the scream sounds too raspy, but I'd like to point out that if I was trying to scream at the top of my lungs to people that were miles away on another building, then I too would probably have a bit of a rasp. Now, Brooke is a case similar to Zoro, as Brooke's played by Ian Sinclair, who also kills it in every role he's in.
Good afternoon, Thank you all for stopping by. You must excuse me for not greeting you properly before. I really was quite surprised. It's been so many years, you see, wandering these waters all alone. I'm so used to ghost ships that humans frightened me. Quite ironic, isn't it?
I believe that Ian perfectly captures Brooke's manic and eccentric mannerisms. He's also clearly just having a lot of fun voicing him and could even perform his songs pretty well.
Doubts are gone, let's move along, 'cause it's time to sail away for the new world.
Like, you can listen to him, you can hear the super joyful yet slightly refined tone that Brooke's going for. Also, quick side note, Brinks' brew sounds better in English, sorry not sorry. Now Jimbei sounds pretty dope.
Did you think I would falter? The man who I have chosen to follow will surely be king of the pirates someday. I can't be intimidated by a mere emperor of the sea.
He has this like gargle sound effect, I don't really know how you describe it, but it does make him sound more like a fish man. And his deep voice does make his presence well known. God, I cannot wait to see what the live action does to Jimbei. Now, I feel like I've been pretty nice to the sub so far, but for this character, the gloves are coming off. I despise Frankie's Japanese voice. It just sounds so high-pitched and ear-grating to listen to. You would not look at this character design and think that he would sound like this. And whenever he yells out super, it sounds unbelievably cringe. Thankfully, the dub got Patrick Seitz to play him, and everything was better. Patrick's performance just makes him sound like the scoundrel who thinks he's top shit way better than the sub did.
You say? Well, that's a damn shame, because I'm afraid I spent it all! You pirates are all a bunch of sore losers. Don't act all high and mighty when you probably just stole the money from someone else.
It also doesn't make my ears bleed. Okay, that was a bit mean, but you get my point. This is the one character in my eyes that is just straight up improvement with no room for debate. And some other good voices I'd like to mention are Shanks's, Mihawk, Blackbeard, Doflamingo, Kizaru, Whitebeard, Law, Ace, Garp, Queen, the narrator, and so on.
Another very sexy lady with super big bazongas. Are you free tonight?
I could make a list a lot more if I wanted to, but I think you get the idea by now. Again, I'd like to reiterate that it's fine if you prefer the sub, but I'm just saying that you shouldn't sleep on the dub. Honestly, I'm just happy that it's on Crunchyroll now, making it more accessible to the general public. Also, the insane grind the dubcast has gone on in their efforts to catch up to the sub is something to behold. They had like a year or two hiatus once they got the Punk Hazard, but afterwards they managed to reach episode 1000 in like 2 years. That's like 500 episodes. God damn! Nothing but respect. Also, just saying that the first 4 openings are dubbed in English, and the English version of We Are by Vic Mignogna is legendary. Jury's still out of whether or not it's better than the 4Kids rap though. Now that's iconic. But if any of you are watching this video and are debating whether or not to watch the series in sub or dub, I would just like to say that I think the dub is worth a shot and has a lot of quality to it that matches and even sometimes surpasses its sub counterpart. Or you could just watch the series in German. You do you. And if I somehow even convince you to at least try it out at all, then I leave you with this.
Thanks a ton. Damn, you are a sizable woman.